Have you been thinking about moving to the San Francisco Bay Area and wondering, how much is it really gonna cost me? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you in this video. It's gonna be a short one, not gonna lie. It costs a lot to live here. Okay, subscribe, follow for more great information. Seriously though, you know there's more to it than that. I'm Erin Anderson and I'm a real estate agent here in the Bay Area. So let's dive into what it does really cost to live here in the Bay Area. Not gonna lie, it is expensive. San Francisco is one of the most expensive places to live in the country. If you've seen any of my other videos, you're gonna know that the cost of living here kind of depends on where you live in the Bay Area. The Bay Area consists of 9 different counties with over 3 million people here. So there is kind of a wide range of cost, but depending on where you're coming from, it's probably still gonna seem like a lot. So to kind of give you an idea of that range, I've picked 5 different cities within the Bay Area to compare. I'm not gonna go into specifics for each city, but it is gonna give us, a good range. Obviously, we're gonna go with San Francisco because that's the center of the whole Bay Area, the San Francisco Bay Area. And then I also picked Santa Clara, which is down in the Silicon Valley, down near San Jose. San Rafael, which is gonna be in the North Bay, north of San Francisco. Martinez, which is in the East Bay, and that's where I live. So I'm very familiar with the cost of living here. And then I'm going a little further east out to Antioch. So that's where our range is gonna be. So those are the different areas we're gonna be looking at when we look at the range of cost of living here in the Bay Area. And the categories we're gonna cover are gonna be housing, food, utilities, traffic, healthcare, and education. So let's jump right in. Of course, the first thing people think of when they think of the Bay Area is how much houses cost here. And again, depending on where you're gonna be, it's gonna be a lot, but the range is big. If you've set the right expectations, I think you'll be able to find a price point that you're comfortable with. The median price point in San Francisco is actually over $1.5 million. So living in the city itself is gonna be the highest price point in the Bay Area. Second is Santa Clara at about 1.4, San Rafael's at about 1.3, and then as you come further east, I think as you go further like northeast, that's where things get to be more affordable. Martinez is about $725,000 for the median home price, and Antioch is about $625,000. Now, if we're looking at rent, we'll compare San Francisco to Antioch. A 1-bedroom apartment in San Francisco is gonna be about $2,800 a month, whereas Antioch is gonna be about $2,000 a month. And in San Francisco, a 3-bedroom home is gonna run you about $6,000 a month, whereas in Antioch, it's gonna be about $3,000 a month. Now, if you live in one of these more affordable places, you may make up part of that cost in traffic, your commute, either the time it takes to get to your job and the cost in gas and tolls. If you live within San Francisco, your commute cost is probably gonna be less because you can either walk places or public transportation is not as expensive within the city of San Francisco. But if you're commuting from one of these farther away places like Martinez or Antioch, it is gonna cost you a little more. If you're driving, obviously you're gonna pay for gas and then bridge tolls to get into San Francisco. And as of January of 2022, it is going to cost you $7 each time you cross a bridge. Now they only charge one way. If you're doing a round trip, you will only pay for one way of your trip. And your average commute time into San Francisco without heavy traffic is about 35 minutes. Rush hour here in the Bay Area tends to go from about 6 a.m. to about 9 a.m. and then in the afternoon from about 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And right now, gas in the Bay Area is very expensive. I almost don't even want to tell you how much it is, but here goes. Right now, the average price of gas in the Bay Area is $4.50 a gallon. I know, I don't even want to say it. I have a friend who lives in Wisconsin, and the fact that I have never seen gas under $2 a gallon just astonishes him. Now, if you don't want to pay for gas or you'd rather use public transportation, that is an option here. We have a system called BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit. It is an electronic train line that runs throughout the Bay Area. Within the city of San Francisco, the cost is gonna be about $2 between stops there. But if you are coming from, like, say, Antioch into San Francisco, that ride is gonna be $8 one way. Okay, now let's talk about food. Everybody's gotta eat, right? If you are planning on cooking at home, the cost of groceries here in the Bay Area is about 25% higher than the national average, sometimes up to 30% depending where you are. So consider that when you're thinking about grocery shopping here. If you like to eat out, we have so many different kinds of restaurants and you can find any kind of food here. So that is a really great experience. But a casual sit-down restaurant is probably gonna cost 2 people with drinks about $60 to $100. Obviously there are some, you can pay less at some places, and of course you can go to the high-end restaurants where you're gonna be paying quite a bit more. But again, you can pretty much find anything you want here. Your utility bills are gonna be about the same throughout the Bay Area. All gas and electric is provided by a company called Pacific Gas and Electric, and the average bill throughout the Bay Area is around $185 a month. And of course that depends on, if you are further in the east, you may run your air conditioner a little more, so maybe it's a little higher out there. A lot of people have invested in solar here in the Bay Area. That's very popular, and there's a lot of incentives that are being offered. Healthcare is another thing that's gonna cost you about the same throughout the Bay Area. Depending, and of course this all depends on your insurance coverage and your specific needs. A doctor's visit around here without insurance is gonna cost you around $130, and a dental visit, again, without insurance is gonna be around $120. And that cost is the same throughout the Bay Area. And that's about 23% higher than the national average, but again, it's about the same no matter where you are in the Bay Area. Lastly, let's talk about education. Kids have to go to school, right? We have lots of great public schools throughout the Bay Area. So if you, depending on where you move to, if you're happy with that school that you are zoned for, great, it's included in your property taxes. But if private schools are something that you're more interested in, that is gonna range from about $15,000 to $20,000 a year per student. One thing to think of though, if you are already living here in the Bay Area and you or your children want to go to a major university for college, we have several of those here, right here in the Bay Area with Cal Berkeley, Stanford, St. Mary's. So if you're already living here and your kids can go to one of those schools, that can kind of offset the cost of your children going to college, right? You're only paying for tuition if your kids can still live there. I hope that answers some of your questions about the cost of living here in the Bay Area. Again, I know it's a lot, it's expensive, but go watch some of my other videos to see maybe why it's worth it. If you are thinking about moving to the Bay Area and want information about maybe a more specific area, please reach out. I am working with buyers and sellers all over the Bay Area. And all my information is below in the description. Have a great day.